Hi everyone, Tyler Manion here, NPC and IFBB Pro League Vice President. This will be the recap for the FIBO show Classic Physique Division, brought to you by New Tech. So between the top two, we had a very close show in Valentin and Momar, and we'll break it down pose by pose for you. So first up would be the front double bicep pose. Valentin has a very good front double bicep, very good overall balance, solid arms into great lats with a very nice taper into a nice small waist. Quads from the front are very solid. Again, I think very balanced overall with his upper body, and conditioning was very, very solid. Momar also has a very solid front double bicep pose. I feel like when you're comparing him to Valentin, but also for himself, he needs a little bit more size and width to his quads from the front to balance out with his upper body. And his taper was not quite as significant as Valentin's. And the way he hits this pose, I feel like there's just more depth to the overall pose on Valentin than with Momar. So more depth and more overall balance. I gave this pose to Valentin to make it 1 pose to 0. Next up is the side chest pose. This pose was definitely a pretty close pose. For Momar, he has very good size and fullness here. He has solid arms and shoulders. His chest is thick. He was in good condition. For his side leg has solid size. However, he definitely needs more hamstring to balance out his quad development and to bring more balance to his lower body. For Valentin, he has a very, very good side leg. As you can see, the size difference between his side leg and Momar's because he has more of that hamstring drop. His chest is on the flatter side. His shoulders and arms are solid as well. However, when you look at the overall, I would say roundness and fullness, this was a very, very close pose for me, but I gave it to Momar just by a hair because Valentin's chest was honestly just a little bit too flat and kind of threw off his upper body for me in this pose a little bit. So that would make it 1 pose to 1. Next up is the back double bicep pose. Momar has a very, very strong back double bicep pose. I think his leg width from the back was solid. He could use just a little bit more detail in the hamstrings. Again, I think that's just development in the hamstrings that he needs. But arms and shoulders, very good. Very balanced with overall great back development. Good width, great thickness. I think that this pose is only going to get stronger for him as he goes further in his career. He can turn this back double bicep pose into a pose that can stand next to almost anybody. For Valentin, solid arms and shoulders, obviously not as good as Momar's, could be a little bit better. His back is, I would say his weak point would be his back and the back double bicep because you see his good width from the front, but he needs more of that thickness and that depth to his back here. He also could use just a touch more width in his back here as well. Legs from the back, he has good leg width. He has good hamstring development. I would say both of their conditioning was very solid. It was not amazing, but it was very, very solid. I would say very good overall. For Valentin, his conditioning could improve from the back compared to how deep his separation and lines are from the front. And when you look at this pose, I think this was a clear pose for Momar to make it 2 to 1 on poses for Momar now. Next up is the abdominals and thigh pose. Very interesting pose here because Momar hits the ab and thigh and he would make sure the abs were contracted and sucked in, but he would do this for maybe a second or two, and then he would pull up into a vacuum, which for me, and all the other judges, as we're going across the stage and we're looking at everything, he was holding the vacuum the whole entire time instead of going back into the abs contracted. If his abs were contracted, I think this pose could be judged much differently, but we judge based off how the competitors are presenting themselves, and when you go vacuum to vacuum pose here, Valentin has a much more impressive vacuum. Again, you see the difference in, I would say, width with the lats coming down into the waist. Again, Valentin's quads from the front are better and more balanced with his upper body. Momar still needs more of that quad development, more of that leg width from the front. I would also say once he was going into the vacuum, he doesn't display the same width, and basically his whole entire torso looks flat. So he's kind of taking away from his strength on what he could present here. And for these reasons, I gave this as a clear pose to Valentin to make it 2 poses to 2. And then finally, the last pose is your favorite classic pose. Valentin does the teacup hybrid front double bicep, front lat spread pose. Again, very smart, showing off his great taper into a nice small waist. Arms and shoulders are solid. The only thing he needs to improve here is that chest thickness. If he got chest thickness, this pose would be very, very impressive. For Momar, he was hitting a front lat spread. For him, when he hits the front lat spread, I don't think he is accentuating all the strengths in his physique. His chest is pretty full, but when he's hitting a front lat spread, his chest is on the flatter side. His hand placement also takes away from his V-taper. And again, his quads from the front are a little bit more of a weakness for him. So when you bring all of these things together, he's kind of showing off more weak points than he is showing off his strengths, which he has plenty of in his physique. Valentin is showing off his strongest points, and obviously he knows his deepest conditioning and lines and separation were from the front. He has great taper with a nice small waist. Again, for me, this was a very clear pose for Valentin to make it 3 poses to 2. Overall, I thought it was a great battle between these two guys. Obviously, only 1 pose difference. That ab and thigh pose and the side chest pose was very, very close for both of them, with each of them taking 1. And this was probably the best I can remember ever judging Valentin. He normally has some issues with conditioning. Here was the best conditioning I've seen from him. He can still get a little more condition from the back, but overall, very good, very clean, very impressive package by him. And for Momar, I didn't even realize he started out in men's physique and has now transitioned over to classic. I think a great choice by him. Some more, development to the legs, some more balance to the legs and the side legs, a little bit of better posing, and this guy is going to be a threat moving forward. In third place, we had Tomas. For Tomas, the main things he needs to improve on are the size of his arms. He also needs some more hamstring development, and he needs to bring more balance to his side legs for the side poses as well. That's obviously just more overall leg and more overall hamstring. His conditioning was very solid. In fourth, we had Alex. Alex could have used some more conditioning. He could have been tighter overall. He can use a little bit more thickness to the chest. He can use more depth and width to his back, and he can use some more quad development overall.